Hello to the YuGiOh playing public, I'm Noel, and the last turn situation is crazy! If for whatever reason you clicked on this video without following the Genesys format, it got its first real points update on October the 27th, and while there were some clear winners and some clear losers in the aftermath, check out Scarlon's recent upload if you want to see more on that, I want to focus on a card that's been, at its best, a bit controversial. If you follow me on Twitter, you may know that I got into a bit of a public spat with one Stephen B. Lunder over the card last turn, where his nearly 9 times larger fan base was very normal and respectful. Hey, Future Noel here. I had already started working on this video, even finishing most of the script, before learning that Blunder decided to react to this interaction on stream and upload a VOD of it to his YouTube channel. I'm going to make it clear now that I don't want this video to be a part of any drama, and Blunder, if you're watching this, which I think there's a pretty decent chance you are, please don't react to this on stream, don't make a response video. Your audience has harassed me enough for a lifetime from the first one. This all came to a head this past Monday when last turn was pointed to 100 on the points update, basically making it unplayable. This then led to a tweet from friend of the channel, Joseph Rothschild, where he questions the intent of Deuteronomy format, wondering if it's really worth it to invest in a game where the selling point is playing banned cards while they whittle away the number of banned cards that are actually available for play. I mean, it's not like last turn is responsible for any unfair play patterns, right? Last Turn was first printed in Legacy of Darkness on June 6, 2003 with the following text. This card can only be activated during your opponent's turn when your life points are 1,000 or less. Select one monster on your side of the field and send all other cards on the field and in their respective owner's hands to their respective graveyards. Your opponent must then special summon one monster from his or her deck in face-up attack position and attack your selected monster. Any battle damage from this battle is treated as 0. The player whose monster remains alone on the field at the end phase of this turn wins the duel. Any other case results in a draw. Now, this is seemingly a very simple effect. You summon a big monster to your side of the field, activate last turn, and force your opponent to either summon a larger monster or lose. So why is it that on March 1st, 2006, last turn was moved to forbidden?
And it's this little distinction in the rulings that allows the Joujin trick to work.
If you activated last turn and targeted a card like Jaugen the Spiritualist,
And in tandem with cards like Jaugen the Spiritualist, which actually prevented your opponent from special summoning.
Like Joujin the Spiritualist.
This hero was only ever used in gimmicky FDK deck that just lowered their life points to 1,000, summon Jaugen.
Look, I'm not going to pretend like there aren't plenty of videos, even better videos, covering the banning of last turn, and I'll be sure to put some of those in the description or in the info card if you want to check them out. But to give you the short version and keep you on this video, there existed a deck whose sole focus was to use cards like Solemn Judgment and Wall of Revealing Light to lower their life points below 1,000 as quickly as possible, then summon some kind of monster that applied a summoning restriction like Jaugen the Spiritualist or Vandy's Fiend, choose that card with last turn, then once all cards on the hand and field have been sent to grave, since the opponent isn't allowed to special summon, the player activating last turn would win by default. Now, you may be wondering, why are you allowed to activate last turn here? After all, it has an effect that forces your opponent to special summon. How could you activate it if your opponent can't special summon? I'm going to be honest, that's a bit more of a complicated question. Last turn has a longer card text than the pendulum effect of Endymion the Mighty Master of Magic, which is kind of the poster child for long and confusing card text. In fact, it's only 6 words shorter than its monster effect. Not only that, it's also never received a print with problem-solving card text, meaning in the modern day, the resolution is incredibly difficult. Do you target the monster that you want to keep, or does it just select? Do the trigger effects of cards sent to grave actually activate before the special battle phase, or after it? Do they miss timing entirely? What about the monster that your opponent summons? These questions and those of its kind have led to the creation of an unofficial 13-page ruling document dedicated to modernizing the text of and resolving Last Turn, which takes, no joke, 37 minutes to read. It will be linked in the description if you want to go through. As we understand, and I do need to stress that this is based off of old rulings, which may be and often are outdated, as well as an unofficial document which, while well researched and put together, is still unofficial. The effect to special summon of Last Turn was considered to be something that happens after resolution of the card, so it would still be legal to activate as long as the main effect of sending all other cards from the hand and field to the graveyard could still resolve. As for the other questions, it does not target, and both types of trigger effects still go off. But we were informed in a blog post that Last Turn doesn't work like that anymore. You can't activate it if your opponent isn't allowed to special summon, so what problems could it actually cause?
Some people just live to cause problems.
Look, we need to establish that Last Turn wasn't banned because it was good. I don't care how many people insist that it's a win condition for Dynamorphia. It wasn't worth the 75 points when it was legal, and those playing the card knew that. These decks weren't meant to be Dynamorphia featuring Last Turn, but instead Last Turn Turbo. Dynamorphia just happened to be a convenient shell. The purpose of bringing Last Turn to a tournament wasn't to win, it was to be the guy who brought Last Turn, and that title was given regardless of results. Don't let the fact that a bad card topped distract you from the fact that it's bad, lest we forget the Gate Guardian incident. And I want to be clear here, it's not wrong for someone to play a suboptimal card for fun or just because they like it. I mean, have you seen my Tistina profiles? 2 Reaper Form, 1 Regulus. Regulus can equip a machine or a Therion, and Reaper Form will give it the effect that it bounces 1, which is just generally quite useful. And just to show you how much I fucking hate Lab, 3 Denko Sekka. I can't believe I'm playing this fucking card, dude. Everything else in here are trap cards, which the deck plays very well. Synchros. AFD. We are only on the 1 field spell, so that does not, however, mean that we shouldn't investigate the impact that playing these fun-ofs has on the game. Remember that mystique that was built up around Last Turn with it being a super difficult card to resolve? Well, that's where the issue lies, in the resolution of the card. Because Last Turn has no recent printings, if the opponent has virtually any response, a judge call is necessary. The way that Last Turn interacts with the game is just fundamentally incompatible with the modern rules. Sure, cards like Gladiator Beast Claudius or Ages of Stars and Frost can grant an extra battle phase, but they behave like a regular battle phase. Effects causing battles between monsters outside of the battle phase is a common occurrence in other card games, but the way attacking behaves in Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes forcing attacks a bit clunky. Nightmare Pain forces you to attack into Yubel monsters, but you're still the one declaring attacks. Unchained Soul of Rage may apply an effect immediately after it resolves, but that effect doesn't have multiple checks and steps. And then of course there's the issue of draws. The only other card in the game which can consistently force a draw between players is Self-Destruct button, which is pointed at 100 because Yu-Gi-Oh's tournament structure just wasn't built with draws in mind. If a game during a match ends in a draw, you're essentially just forced into an extra game afterwards, and that game didn't count for anything other than taking up time. Because of Last Turn's incompatibility with game rules, lack of problem-solving card text, and capacity for causing draws, it is incredibly disruptive to regular tournaments. Bringing Last Turn to an event is analogous to throwing popcorn in a cinema. Sure, the cinema gave you the popcorn, and they didn't say you shouldn't throw it at the screen, but you're being an ass, making the movie watching experience worse for everyone else in the theater, and forcing the employees to clean up after you. No deck should ever require a judge to be on call at any times. And I want to take this as an opportunity to bring up the attitude that players have towards judges. The way that many players think about and treat event staff, especially online, is genuinely repulsive and should not be tolerated at any level. while getting judge certification may be easy, I mean, I passed my RC1 on my phone while waiting for food at a Margaritaville. Actually being a judge is difficult, physically and mentally. You're on your feet for 8 to 10 hours straight, constantly walking between tables, worrying if you were wrong about that ruling or infraction you gave out 3 rounds ago. It's an extremely stressful job, and I wish I could speak more to it, but I just don't have the experience to do so.
I think the thing that a lot of players don't really appreciate or think about, maybe, is that, you know, we're there out of our own time, especially in EU. We don't get paid for judging, you know, we're getting very minimal compensation for what we're doing. You know, like, oh, we'll get travel comp for the big YSIS and stuff, but like, it's just to cover it, and you still have to sell those things. You still have to pay up front for your travel. And for some events, maybe they'll cover the hotel and stuff, but not all the time, especially not for anything below a tier 3. So, judges are there out of our own free time. There isn't any official resources. Konami doesn't provide us with anything to learn or improve as judges from. Most of what I've learned is from people above me in judging, or the senior judges, my team leads and stuff. Konami themselves don't really provide that much, so we're there out of our own time for very little compensation, and we're learning a very difficult game to a more in-depth requirement than most players need to have to play. And yes, obviously it requires a lot of... Yes, there's a lot of skill that goes into playing the game and doing well at playing, but there's also a lot that goes into being good at judging. And you're not just there to get rulings right, you're there to manage. It's customer service at the end of the day. You're managing people, you're dealing with people hundreds in a day at tier 3 events that just... Everyone responds differently to an interaction from a judge. People are better or worse at explaining the situation, and so it's not just about spotting an error and figuring it out, or knowing every ruling, which no one does. No one can learn every ruling. I carry a folder with the entirety of the policy documents with me when I go to judge, because you have to check it sometimes. We have a lot more responsibilities to do than worry about just getting the rulings right. Obviously it's important and we try our best, but like, I don't think people appreciate the amount of effort that goes into it, and that you're not owed a judge. No one is required to sign up for judge staff. And if we just didn't one day, what would happen to your next YCS if just judges just decide not to show up? We don't have enough judges already. Like, we have less than we would like at events. And to argue that, oh, some judges suck at their jobs and they don't know enough, well, I think you should probably be campaigning for Konami to provide better resources for judges to learn the game and get better at judging, rather than criticize the few people that are willing to volunteer to make your event experience better.
Now, you may be thinking, well, if Last Turn is so complicated to resolve because of the lack of problem-solving card text, why not just reprint it? That'd also give them a good opportunity to errata it and remove the draw so it wouldn't be problematic anymore, right? The issue with that is the Konami TCG team doesn't actually have much control over the set contents of their product. The only regularly releasing product that doesn't have an OCG analog are the tins, which would mean that any possible Last Turn reprint wouldn't be until next September, and it's likely that the OCG still has some amount of control over the contents of the tins as well. There is, of course, a second reason that this solution doesn't work, which is that the TCG team can't actually give a card an errata without permission from the OCG. This is actually partially why the rules for choosing your own giant card restricts you from choosing cards without copyright 2020 Studio dice printed on them. An older card could require them to give problem-solving card text to a card that doesn't have it already. and that could technically be considered an errata by the OCG. Since Ecclesiastes is a format unique to the TCG, there's no actual reason the OCG would approve of a reprint for Last Turn. The Zephaniah team has made it clear through the pointing of question that they don't want cards that are disruptive to regular gameplay and might cause ruling issues to have a place in the format, and this includes Last Turn. I wholeheartedly welcome this. It's honestly really great to see Konami taking care of both communicating with its players through the blog post and looking out for their event staff by disincentivizing otherwise worthless Judge Call Turbo cards. All in all, it shouldn't come as a shock to anyone that Last Turn was removed from the Second Thessalonians format. Its history is problematic to resolve, combined with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players' inability to just be normal, meant it was a matter of time before the Revelations team decided enough was enough and they didn't want players willingly causing issues at events.
What a little troublemaker.
They changed the rules for pole position loops. They're allowed to change the points total for problematic cards. That's all I actually have for this video. I'd like to give a special thank you to Scarlon for her help in talking about the actual judging experience. If you aren't subscribed to her already, go and do that. And if you're a fan of Tengu format, she's moved on from Edison in the Future Visions public tournaments, so go sign up to bring some stupid FTK on November 15th. Beyond that, I'd also like to thank you for watching to the end of the video. Consider subscribing if you aren't, and check the description for links to my socials. I suppose with that, I'll just move to my end phase. See ya!